And today our focus is going to be the front and rear derailleur. Okay, so we're going to start with the front derailleur. As you can see, there's electronic shifting. Even though it's electronic shifting, I'm not going to take it off because it's not connected to any actual cable, so you just unplug it from here and take it off. But it's aligned to a way where it's going to pain the you-know-what to realign it. So we're just going to keep it on. And quite frankly, it would have been easier to do if we kept the crank off, but I'm not going to take it off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a towel first of all underneath here, and I just don't want the stuff to drip down to the bottom bracket, so I'm going to start spraying and get some of the grime out. And as soon as that's done, I'm just going to wipe and try to get the inside here. Now to the rear derailleur. This is, as you can see, electronic shifting as well, but I'm not going to take it off. Pretend you have mechanical shifting. If you do want to take it off, you're going to have to pretty much recalibrate the whole shifting again and make sure it's on point when you put the cable back onto the clamp. Anyway, so what we're going to do first, I'm going to take off the jockeys. So I'm going to go in here, and in case you're wondering, counterclockwise. It's very important that these spin nice and smooth. To be honest, these are actually kind of smooth, but what the hell, I'm gonna clean them just to be even more smooth. Anyway, I'm gonna take these off. Again, be very careful so these things do not fall down to the ground. There's lots of little bits and pieces you'll see later. And again, if you lose something like this, it might cost you a lot in the long run. There are some hairs, some grime here, so the other one, to be honest, is going to be easier to remove. And as you can see, more grime. Okay, so now when I took these off, I placed them in a position where I could easily remember how they go. So when I attach it back to the derailleur, it's going to be like this. And I did this so I do not lose place. So always when you take apart something complex, to spare yourself some misery, be very organized how you take stuff off. Anyway, let's begin with the cleaning. So this is going to be very easy, this part right here. I'm just going to spray it. You could use regular degreaser, but I'm just going to spray it since the spray's out. Even though it's meant for electronic shifting, it still does the same job. I'm going to clean this guy out. It's a carbon body. And now for the jockeys. I'm going to pick this guy up. I'm going to spray it. You could also use degreaser like I mentioned, but the spray's here, so I'm just going to use it as convenience. And to be honest, the degreaser would have been more economic since we do reuse that stuff. And I'm going to get the next guy now. I'm going to spray it, and I'm going to wipe it. Wipe, spin, and so on. Okay, now to get a little more complicated. Okay, now we're going to take apart the jockeys because we want them to be as smooth as butter. So again, organization's key. As you can see, there's some grime in here. I'm just going to spray them the inside and wipe. Always be organized how you take apart things. I'm going to keep repeating it so it's embedded. And now let me get this guy here. And also be careful that the bearings don't fly out. There's some bearings in there. Wipe the inside. And this stuff is great. It actually evaporates eventually, so don't worry if you leave it nice and moist, it will evaporate. I see some grime here, so let me just get this here. Anyway, now to the bearings. I'm not really gonna touch these much. I'm just gonna like dry around it. Remove the excess crap, because there is some like seals right here, so the bearings should be good in there, but if they're not, that is a different story. And now time to put them back together. So what I do, I put them back. Oops, I just broke this. Anyway, I squirt some grease in here. It is very sticky and tacky. This is Shimano's premium grease. This is what they use in their Dura hubs and top of line product line. Get both sides. By adding this, you're also creating like a barrier from the elements. And now I'm gonna put these guys in here. And it feels nice and smooth. So now to this guy here. This is something, by the way, I don't do often, but since I do the derailleur, I'm gonna take care of it right now. Why do I not do it that often? Because usually these jockeys last usually pretty long. The only time I will do it is if I sense the jockey is having some resistance. And let's not forget the bolts. I'm just gonna spray them and wipe them. The reason again is so the threading does not jam next time you try to remove them. So it's always good to grease these a little. And now, though we cleaned this side of the cage, we still have the other side. Okay, now we're gonna clean the rest of the derailleur. Again, the reason I'm using this is to make my job a lot easier and quicker. And since it's safe for electronic shifting, I don't have to worry about like messing it up. So there's a lot of nooks and crannies in the shifter that need to be cleaned, believe it or not. Like the spring. Over time, this spring has grime buildup. As you can see, I have it pretty clean right now, but I'm still gonna spray it. And this stuff works great because it evaporates and eats grease, so no rinsing necessary. I'm going to shift it in just to get it tighter in. I'm just going to spray. It's really not that dirty, but just for all intents and purposes, I'm just going to spray it down and wipe out whatever grease is in here. And now time to put the jockeys back in. And again, as I preached earlier, the more organized we are, the easier it is. So I'm going to start off with putting this one in. Run it through the hole. And then tighten it. I'm going to go through the spokes because, like a dumb idiot, I did not take off my wheel. And I'm going to tighten it. As you can see, I'm only putting one wheel right now. Yeah, off camera, I greased the bolts. Just so you know. So next time when you remove it, it's easy. And now time to put the last jockey in. And this time I don't have to go from behind the wheel, I could just insert it from this side. And this concludes the cleaning of the front and rear derailleur. And again, like I said before, a clean drivetrain is an efficient drivetrain. And we are going to move on to putting back the chain next.